this point. He's dropped from second, now back to sixth, and continues to just slide up the racetrack in the corners.
And as we watch Mike Skinner right in front of him in that blue and yellow number 31 car, 1999 has already produced 2 first-time winners, and if there is any other driver who has not yet won, who is overdue, it is Mike Skinner in the 31 car.
Whatever line he just took, I wouldn't do that again.
That one didn't work, did it?
So Bobby Labonte just motored right on by him on the high side as Skinner was trying to stay very low on the racetrack.
That's a great shot. That's what we haven't seen before. See all the ducting to try and cool the driver off. Watching Bobby Labonte at work today.
There is the office. Comfy chair.
Yeah.
A window view.
Yeah, virtually no padding in that comfy chair either.
What you call a very fast-paced business.
Yeah, and this is fresh air right there. That's the hose blowing fresh air from the outside on him to keep him cool.
Not only that, but just to ventilate the car. Remember that these race cars are designed to move air around them. Any air that's catching in the window, it's like open your car window when you're riding down the interstate and all that air coming in, that's resistance on your passenger car. So they design these race cars for the air to move around them. That means you need to find some way to get fresh air into the driver. There are no air conditioners on these machines. Jeff Gordon is being caught by Jeff Burton. The both of them moving up nicely through the field. Gordon running in 8th, Burton running in 9th now. Watching them slice up through traffic. Remember that Burton started back in 37th spot. Burton in the 99 car, middle of the screen. And Gordon on the left of your screen. He started in 22nd.
Some of the cars right now are starting to make pit stops. I noticed Rick Mast is in the pits right now. I think he hung on to it long as he could stand it. Now he's going to do some changing. Look at Jeff Burton just turn right under Gordon, though. Oh, and got loose coming off turn 4.
Yeah, Gordon went right out to the wall coming off turn 4 as well. You talk about that win that Gordon had last weekend at Martinsville, Virginia. How important that was. The crew says that win was more important to them than winning the Daytona 500 because it proved that they could do it. A lot of people were wondering if that crew could perform without Ray Evernham, and surely last week they proved they can.
Here's Jeremy Mayfield and Bobby Labonte now racing for 4th off the corner. Labonte left him like he's chained to a stump. Something wrong with Mayfield. Slowing down. The lap car of Kenny Wallace goes by. Here comes Mike Skinner up on him.
I would just say that that's something in the powertrain because he goes through the corner pretty well. Now, when he hits the straightaway, he does not have the straightaway speed of the cars that he's running with.
Jeffrey Bodine, Kyle Petty, Rick Mast, Rich Bickle, all making pit stops here under the green flag in the last couple of minutes. Watching Jeremy Mayfield lose those couple of spots, let's get more on that car with Marty Snyder.
Well, all Jeremy said is that he had to get on the brakes because Kyle Petty was coming to the pit, so he said he was blocked. He said, guys, this car is perfect, so let's not do anything on this pit stop when they plan to come in about 5-6 laps.
Perfect, huh?
There you go. So no problem for Mayfield. Just being a little cautious if we're still plenty early in the race. Back up front, it's Mark Martin. Kind of out there on cruise control, but he has got somebody growing very large in his rear view mirror. That is the championship leader, Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's come from 2 seconds behind to 2/10 of a second behind.
Yeah, it's nice to be king, and he's just moving right along there right now. Yep. Jarrett's car doing anything he wants it to do, and to catch Mark Martin, he had to have that type of race car. He can drive. When he gets to lap traffic, it looks like Mark Martin may be heading for the pits because he slowed down just then down the back straightaway.
Rusty Wallace, the 10th place car, is in. Mike Hogwood.
Well, Rusty Wallace was not happy at all with that run. He had run so well at the beginning of the race. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. They went up a pound. That was too much. They're now going down a pound to get back where it was. 4 tires, fuel. He's down and away. Marty Snyder.
And Jeremy Mayfield is out of gas on the track, guys. He's coasting down pit road. He has no fuel. He's going to try to get here as quick as he can. These guys cannot catch a break. Only one top 10 in their last 12 races. He comes in. The call, he had to swerve around a Dale Earnhardt crew member. And now he gets it fired up as they spray a little ether in there. But Jeremy Mayfield, tough break for these guys. They're going to lose a lot of spots.
Here the car running, though, so that's good if he can keep it running. Now the second place machine, Dale Jarrett, is on pit road. John Andretti is coming in as well. Several cars on pit road here. Green flag stops happening at lap number 87. They were all on pit road under the caution back at lap 19. Dale Jarrett stops. Steve Burns.
Dale Jarrett's in. John Andretti stops right behind him. No chassis adjustment to the 43. They're just going to do a slight air pressure adjustment. He's a little bit tight off 2 and 4. John Andretti is in the SDP car, number 43. Dale Jarrett takes 4 tires and a great pit stop, 16.9 seconds.
Here we go. Got 75 on your right. Clear, clear, clear.
Your leader, Mark Martin, coming into the pits. He's been complaining that the longer the run got, he was getting a little bit loose as well. So they have made an air pressure adjustment on the right rear. 4 tires and fuel for Mark Martin's Ford. Looks like a good stop as they move around to the left side of the car.
Mark Martin's team going to work on the left side of their machine. You see the clock, some troubles there. That's a long stop for that team. Some 21 seconds before he left. Bobby Labonte has been on pit road. Mike Skinner has taken over the race lead. He has just left the racetrack and come down pit road, followed by Steve Park, Tony Stewart. You see Jeff Burton's crew going to work on his machine. These stops coming some 68 laps after the first round of pit stops. Burton's team on the left side, one of the best in the business, this crew is, at getting their job done quick. There's now the Mike Skinner crew doing their work. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
And remember, his car started tight and got a little looser. All they did was put 1 round of wet in the left side to try to tighten up Mike Skinner, and he's now down and away.
Bobby Hamilton led for a lap by staying on the racetrack longer than most of these cars. Now he gives up the lead to come to pit road, as you see Hamilton coming to the attention of his crew. Last time the Winston Cup circuit raced on a Monday, Bobby Hamilton was the winner. Martinsville, Virginia, 1998. This race team that's run better and better here as the summer has gone on. Some changes internally, but the team seem to have clicked. They've started knocking off some top 10 finishes. Hamilton running very well here today. He had moved up very nicely from his 15th starting spot and again had the lead through this cycle of green flag pit stops. So after the round of pit stops, the lead is going to cycle back to a championship leader, Dale Jarrett. He will be out in front, picking up those 5 bonus points toward the Winston Cup title. So he neutralized the lead that Bobby Labonte had earlier in the race. So that's back to level ground, if you will.
It might have seemed more comfortable to folks who don't know a lot about Dale Jarrett, Todd Parrott, and the rest of these guys. Might seem more comfortable for them just to cruise with a big 251-point lead. But their strategy has been to run this car the same way they've run all year long, which is hard, and try to win every race. Let the points fall where they will. And here's DJ out in front here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Tell you what, that pit crew did a tremendous job because he just didn't come out with a lead. He came out with a huge lead. He is 2.5 seconds up on Bobby Labonte. So Jarrett leading after the first round of green flag pit stops. Labonte, Andretti, Rusty Wallace, and Mark Martin, the top 5, will continue live in Charlotte on TBS in just a minute.
Brought to you by Winnebago Industries. For information on Winnebago Industries products for the Winnebago Motorsports team, call 1-800-642-4892. Mack trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK. Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, CART, IRL, NHRA, ASA, and the World of Outlaws. Call Featherlight for trailer and motor coach needs at 1-800-800-1230. Just 4 races into his Winston Cup career, defending Busch Series champion Dale Earnhardt Jr. has already started to make his mark in NASCAR's top division. He made his debut in the number 8 Budweiser Chevy at the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, qualifying a strong 8th. In the race, Earnhardt Jr. stayed out of trouble and in the top 20 all night long, finishing a respectable 16th. Next up for Little E, the mile in New Hampshire in July. Earnhardt even out-qualified his famous father by 1 spot. In the race, Dale Jr. found his first taste of Winston Cup trouble, dropping out early with an ignition problem, and he finished 43rd. Earnhardt's 3rd Winston Cup start came at Michigan, where he once again qualified on the first day and wound up with a 24th place finish. His most recent outing was at Richmond, and the young Earnhardt quickly found out how tight short track racing could be, getting tangled up with Jimmy Spencer. But Earnhardt recovered to record his first career Winston Cup top 10 finish. Look for Dale Jr. full-time on the Winston Cup circuit in the year 2000.
Day late, but it's happening. The UAW-GM Quality 500 is through 99 laps. 148.5 miles have been completed thus far, with Dale Jarrett out in front. Bobby Labonte running in second. Rusty Wallace, who started on the outside of the front row in third. There you see the rest of the top 10. The Robert Yates prepared number 88. They're going for their 4th win in this race for Yates and company. Race summary today. After 99 to go 334 laps. Jarrett the leader. 10 lead changes. Caution 1 for Matt Kenseth, who spun early in the going. He is now back in 24th position, and the average speed 156 miles an hour. Let's get back with the action top side. Here's Alan Bestwick.
Ken, thank you. That Matt Kenseth spin earlier did not cost him in terms of hitting anything, but he did go a lap down to leader Dale Jarrett in that last segment of the race. Now, all of a sudden, since we've gone back at it, here's Kenseth, the fastest car on the racetrack. He just passed the leader to get back on the end of the lead lap.
Yeah, and it was pretty impressive. He ran him down from almost a turn back and just got right on by Jarrett.
Kenseth is impressive. A couple of weeks ago at Dover, he made just his 4th ever career Winston Cup start. Pulled off his 1st ever top 5 with a 4th place finish. This kid is good. He is really good, and you are going to hear a lot of Matt Kenseth in the future.
Needs a caution flag right now to come back around and catch up with the pack, but if he gets it, we'll keep our eye on him throughout the balance of the afternoon. Let's follow up on this recent round of green flag pit stops and get some updates from our reporters. First to Steve Burns.
Alan, I checked in with Bobby Labonte's crew. Remember, he was complaining about being loose going into the corner, being tight where he couldn't turn the car in the middle, and then loose again off. Well, to counteract that, they took a pound of air pressure out of every tire except the right front. Let's go to Marty Schneider.
Well, Steve, when Jeremy Mayfield came in with it, we said they used ether to kind of fire his car back up when it ran out of fuel. Actually, what happened is they used this little gas can. This goes to a fuel line that bypasses the air filter, and it goes straight down into the carburetor. They shoot the fuel down into the carburetor. That's how Jeremy was able to fire up his car so quickly. What could have been disastrous turned out to be pretty good. Jeremy came in 6th and came out 4th, so not too bad for Jeremy Mayfield. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Jeff Burton started this race 37th. He's up to 9th now on the pit stop. 4 tires, fuel, no adjustment. Now I asked crew chief Frankie Stoddard, I said, have you been running this car hard to get up through the field? His answer, not yet. They still have something left in the 99. Watch out.
Jeff Burton running in the 9th spot right now. You look at him in the Exide machine. He is running about a second behind Jeff Gordon in the 8th spot. There's Frank Stoddard from New Hampshire. Very excellent young crew chief of the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit, has enjoyed a lot of success in just less than 2 years as the head man in Jeff Burton's pit.
Learned his skills in the Winston Racing Series, then the Busch North Series with Stub Fadden as his driver, eventually moved on down here. Suggestion to Jeff Burton, he is the crew chief, and what a great team they have made together.
You see, Matt Kenseth has just pulled out about a 3-car length lead on Dale Jarrett, and you're exactly right. He needs a caution right now because as they go along, the way Jarrett's car is handling, I'm afraid Matt Kenseth is going to run out of tires and get a lap down again.
Let's look behind the leader, Dale Jarrett. Bobby Labonte runs 2nd, a little over 1 second behind him. Rusty Wallace is 3rd, another second back. 4th is Mark Martin, who's closing quickly. And now we look back to Jeff Gordon in 8th, who's trying to pick his way up through traffic. He's just gone around David Green, one of the lap cars. In fact, let's tell you that Green, Schrader, Ken Schrader, Michael Waltrip, Wally Dallenbach, Elliott Sadler, Ted Musgrave, Sterling Marlin, Robert Presley, Terry Labonte, Chad Little, Kenny Wallace, Kyle Petty, Brett Bodine, Rich Bickle, Derek Pope. Listen to this long list. Dick Trickle, Jerry Nadeau, Jimmy Spencer, and Todd Bodine. They've all been lapped. And we're not even 200 miles into this event. That's what kind of a pace the leaders have set. And, buddy, that goes back to the storyline we were talking about at the top of our broadcast about making the right guess on the chassis setup and the unknown weather conditions for today's race and how weather so greatly affects the way the car performs on this racetrack.
Absolutely, and there were so many of the guys that you just mentioned that are a lap down already that don't have the crew chief that's been around for a long, long time and can second guess the team as to what they need to do on a particular day. You'll notice the guys that are running up front right now, they've all been together for quite a while.
And they've all got great chassis people on the team. Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Jeremy Mayfield, all have chassis experts that are outstanding at being able to figure out what to do with a race car.
Watching Mike Skinner and John Andretti race for 6th and 7th. There's Dale Earnhardt, haven't called his name much all day. He and Ward Burton are racing for the 11th and 12th spots down the backstretch. Looks like Burton's the guy on the move there.
Yeah, But watch Earnhardt as they go in the corner. Goodbye. I'm going to take that high side. Now here comes Burton fighting back as he gets back in the throttle. Earnhardt will take you down in that corner and just hold the throttle on. But it cost him as far as getting off the corner because he's still turning while everybody else is picking the throttle back up.
Earnhardt's one of the all-time greats here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. 5 Winston Cup wins of his 73 have happened right here in Charlotte.
Marty Snyder can give us more on Dale Earnhardt's performance so far.
Well, he's been tight all day long, guys, and they've been working on this car to loosen it up, but it's still tight. Earnhardt just radioed to Kevin Hamlin. We still didn't hit it, Kevin, is what he said, and it's still tight. But that's his problem. He kind of wants to shoot up off of him on the racetrack. When he's coming up off the corner, the car kind of wants to slide up. So the problem for Earnhardt is that his car is tight.
Not wanting to turn on a racetrack where you have to turn left
Excuse me.
is trouble. Watching the race now for third position, Mark Martin is moving and moving fast. He is up and around Rusty Wallace into that spot. Martin was 5.9 seconds behind leader Dale Jarrett after the pit stops a little while ago. Now he's 2.6 seconds behind him. So he's made up a little bit better than 2 seconds under the green flag on the leader.
Robin Pemberton, one of the greatest guessers out there as far as being with the race car driver for a long time. He and Rusty Wallace really know what to do. Mark Martin just drove away from him before the pit stop. Now it looks like the 2-car of Rusty Wallace is every bit as good as Mark Martin's car.
Only the 1 caution flag in the race so far for Matt Kenseth's spin back at lap number 18. And so we're very close to a record speed for this UAW-GM Quality 500. Dale Jarrett is your race leader, coming up on 200 miles in this afternoon's event, live on the Superstation. We're back in just a minute. Hope you'll stay with us. During the race, you can log on to TBSSuperstation.com and catch live in-car cameras of your favorite driver. Watch the race from your driver's point of view, TBSSuperstation.com. Live on this Monday at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina, Superstation TBS here with you to bring you the rain-delayed UAW-GM Quality 500 being led by that man, Dale Jarrett. Current championship leader in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, was a second and change up on Bobby Labonte. Now you see Bobby is closing quickly on DJ, and they have both gotten around a driver we were talking about just a few moments ago.
Matt Kenseth, no longer on the lead lap. He tried hard, buddy, but you were right. He did burn up those tires.
Yeah, when you run the leader down as well as that car is working, Jarrett's car, you're going to abuse the tires, and once he gets tires real hot, he does not have the balance on the car he needs right now.
Race summary, upper left-hand corner. You see Tony Stewart has dropped back to the 13th position. Solid run for Rick Mast in 15th. Jeffrey Bodine is doing well, 18th and on the lead lap. Last car that is on the lead lap at the moment is 22nd place, Johnny Benson. Right there, just ahead of Matt Kenseth, who is the first driver 1 lap down.
Bobby Labonte is just eating up Jarrett now. He's using a much different line around the racetrack. As a matter of fact, there's many different lines around the racetrack that these guys are using right now. Bobby Labonte, you watch Jarrett, he'll go right to the white line. Well, he said, wait just a second here. Maybe my spotter just told me he's catching me up high there, and I'll try it and see whether I like it up there or not.
What are they trying to find when they try? All right, so I've been going in the corner low. My car feels this way. Now I'm going to try going in high this time.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you in the way they do. They say, okay, that was a 30-20. That was a 30-30. That was a 30-20 again. Now he changes his line, goes up high, and they say, hey, that was a 29-80. Try that one. And
that is the time for the lap around the racetrack. Each and every lap that the driver runs is timed by his pit crew, and also on the NASCAR computers. Is what's
faster right there, that green car. He's running down, and now he's less than 2 car lengths back. You see the variance in the lines on both cars.
Napa Field summary, upper left-hand corner of your screen. As we watch the top 2 race for the lead, Bobby Labonte has closed in on Dale Jarrett. Labonte leading on 2 different occasions earlier in the event. Lap 14 to 19, lap 24 and 25. Now he's going to try and do it for a third time off turn 4.
What a snow job. He's been running up all the whole run here. Jarrett goes up to protect that line. Bobby just drives to the bottom and right on by.
So put Bobby Labonte back out in front of this race. Lap number 122. And Dale Jarrett back to second. Remember, these are the top 2 drivers in the fight for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. Only a paltry $2 million plus on the line between them.
But you know what? Dale Jarrett would take that championship and pay $2 million to get it if he possibly could. This is a life's dream for both of these men. For Jarrett, in his 40s, time's running out. He's not got too many more years to do it. Labonte's got much of his career still ahead of him. Jarrett's got much of his career behind him already. And what a champion either of those men would make.
Dale Jarrett, 42 years old. Bobby Labonte's 35.
Yeah, but there's something else, too. He has a gentleman that lives just up the road here, Ned Jarrett, that's been a champion. That would mean so much to him to be a champion along with his father. There would be the second time that the father-son had been champion. The other was Lee and Richard.
Petty. Absolutely. I know in most racing circles you don't have to say the last name of those two, but we'll throw it in there just to be safe. Riding with Dale Jarrett as he continues to chase Bobby Labonte for the race lead, approaching 200 miles in today's live coverage of the UAW-GM Quality 500 in Charlotte. TBS Superstation back in just a minute as Bobby Labonte continues to lead. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series live on Superstation TBS on this Monday. It's the UAW-GM Quality 500 from Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. Bobby Labonte is the race leader. Watching him there in the Joe Gibbs Racing Pontiac. Right behind him is second place man Dale Jarrett. Those are the top 2 drivers in the fight for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. Now let's drop back to what is a terrific fight for 7th, 8th, and 9th positions. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and John Andretti have been going at it for quite some time. Back to that in a minute. First here's 3rd spot up ahead.
Mark Martin gets around Rusty Wallace as they go down into turn 1. Rusty's car was real good on about 10-15 laps on the new tires, and now he's beginning to fade a little. And we know that Mark Martin has complained quite a bit to his crew chief that maybe he tried a little too hard also.
Just after the pit stop, Mark Martin gained about 2 seconds on the leader, Mike Hogwood. He's fallen back a little bit, though, having just taken that 3rd spot from Rusty Wallace. What's going on down there in his pit?
Well, Mark has said he ran the set of tires too hard to catch up, and now in his words, the car is junk. And he's hanging on to the next round of green flag pit stops, which should come somewhere in the neighborhood of lap 155 to 160.
And as you see upper left of your screen, we're at lap 131 now. I'll bet these guys back here that are struggling around in 25th would love to have the car Mark Martin calls junk in 4th right now.
Yeah.
Here's Mike Skinner around the outside of Jeremy Mayfield. That is Skinner around the outside of Mayfield, trying to get the 5th spot away from him there. And he will do so across the start-finish line. So the California native Skinner continues to have a solid day in the Richard Childress Racing Machine, the blue and white number 31 car left of your screen.
Mayfield in the 12 is another of the drivers that really likes this tire. He enjoys anything that is an exceptional challenge. He's one of the few people you can talk to about Darlington Raceway who will say that's one of my favorite tracks. Same with Pocono. Any place that the other drivers maybe don't like, Mayfield loves. He loves this tire as well.
Mentioned earlier that Ricky Craven had gone to the garage area for a time. He has come back onto the speedway, though he is running some 73 laps down. So all 43 of the original starters in the event are on the track now and motoring around. And next time by, the leader will complete the 200-mile mark in today's UAW-GM 500-mile event.
When they get to the halfway point, you'll hear the applause and the hallelujah chorus in the garage for these crews that are so anxious to go back and work on their cars so they can get ready for Talladega next week. You've been here for a long, long time trying to get this in. It's been worth the wait. It's a great race so far.
Not familiar with the rules of NASCAR racing, once you've completed half of the published distance, it is an official race. Should weather or something come up that causes it to be stopped short, we expect none of that today. Although after being postponed today by rain from yesterday, The Hallelujah Lap, as it is called in the racing circle, will be somewhat celebrated down on pit road today. These teams need to sign in to Talladega in Alabama first thing Friday morning, so they'll all be needing to travel on Thursday of this week.
That speed shot that you just saw, that grass shot, that's just coming off the fourth corner. And they come right down to the lawn there.
Looking at our leader going down into turn 3, Bobby Labonte right now has stretched it out a little bit on the second place of Dale Jarrett there, the blue car. This one right here as he comes through the corner.
Jarrett knows that he has had a terrific season so far. 6 races away from potentially his first Winston Cup championship. But he knows even with a fairly substantial lead, he can't let up any on Bobby Labonte quite yet.
We have to continue to race to win and make the most of each day. You can't just sit out there and say, okay, if I can ride around here and finish 10th today, I'll be okay. You can't do that. That'll get you in trouble, because if you're trying to finish 10th, just like trying to win the race, seldom do you win that race, so then you're going to end up 5th or 10th. So if you're trying to finish 10th, you're more than likely going to finish 15th or 20th, and that'll get you in big trouble in this championship battle.
Reaction to that, gentlemen?
He's exactly right. I'm going to tell you, you don't take a racehorse and teach him to trot. You teach him to run. And a good race car driver gets in a rhythm. And if he's in that rhythm, he's doing exactly what he trains himself to do. You slow him up, and all of a sudden he starts relaxing and gets in trouble.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I was just going to say that, Alan.
There you go.
Just going to say that.
Should I say great minds think alike?
Well,
ooh, that's
sure.
scary.
That would be good.
Let's watch Dale inside the car here, ride around with him for a couple of minutes. His style, we talked about Mark Martin's earlier and how Mark steers the race car.
How different the cockpit of these cars has become. In the days before power steering, their arms would have been almost straight out. The wheel would have been a lot closer to the dashboard. But with power steering, they've moved the wheels closer and closer to the driver. Looks terribly uncomfortable.
Here's Mike Skinner moving up as Mark Martin slides back. That is for 4th position. And Skinner dusts off Martin and picks up the spot.
Hey, Skinner's having a big day today.
Yeah.
I wonder if today could be the big day for him.
Well, I can tell you one thing. He's running exactly the groove that we talked about Bobby Labonte being so quick in. He's running the high side of the racetrack, and Mark Martin is still staying right on the bottom of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4.
And you know, as these guys were struggling with the tires, Skinner ran in the Busch Series on Saturday, and they stumbled on some technical things at the front end of that Busch car that they brought over here to the Winston car. Crew Chief Larry McReynolds said that rarely happens, but this was one of those times when running in the Busch car on Saturday really has made a difference.
There is Mike Skinner, 42-year-old from Susanville, California. Best Winston Cup finish, a 3rd place on a couple of occasions. Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett, the top 2 drivers in the NASCAR Winston Cup championship fight, continue to pace the distance in the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. Coming up on halfway, live at Charlotte.
The UAW-GM Quality 500 on the Superstation is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. We keep America running. By Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. And by Route 66, only at Kmart.
145 laps, 217 and a half miles have been completed in the 500 here today. And what a thrilling, spectacular race it has been up in front. Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte continuing to contest since the outset in this event. This was earlier in the event. I had a little trouble from Matt Kenseth. Robert Yates here looking on as he looks on for his 4th win in this 500. Right now, let's go to Alan Bestwick.
All right, Ken, thank you. Bobby Labonte is the race leader. Watching him as he continues to motor around. We're just past the 200-mile mark now. And Labonte is up on Dale Jarrett by 1.1 seconds. He's moved away from him by maybe 15 or 20 car lengths. It's not that much. There's the distance right there. Labonte far left of your screen, and Jarrett there where Buddy marked with the telestrator on the right side. Couple of lap cars between the top 2 now, and this is the biggest lead that Bobby has had since getting by Jarrett back at lap number 122. Here's Jeff Gordon on the move. He's trying to get 6th spot away from Mark Martin.
Mark Martin has virtually given up right now. The car is not handling to suit him, and you see he's running the low part of the racetrack as his teammate goes right on by him, the 99 there. Burton just motored by on the outside. Mark is waiting on this pit stop.
Kirby Mayfield's going to take his pit stop right now. He doesn't want to wait anymore. Time for 4 fresh ones. To Marty.
And Jeremy is in. He was a little tight, but almost as fast as the leaders. 4 tires here. They're going to make a little air pressure adjustment in an attempt to loosen him up just a little bit as the left side tires go on right now for Jeremy Mayfield.
Matt Kenseth, Jeffrey Bodine, David Green, and Brett Bodine have all made green flag pit stops in the last few laps, just ahead of Mayfield. This is about what? 5 to 7 laps earlier than we were anticipating for green flag stops, at least for the race leader. So that's an indication that these guys' cars just are not handling like they feel they can handle them at this point. And Buddy Baker knows the quickest way to please a race driver with a little handling car is
four
tires at it. That's right.
I thought my driver didn't have it. I thought his vocabulary had shrunk quite a bit because all I ever heard him say was 4 tires, please.
Gordon is taking a really interesting line in that red and blue number 24 you see on the left side of your screen. When he runs through turns 1 and 2, he's right on the bottom, right on the white line. But when he gets to turns 3 and 4, he runs way upstairs, almost to the wall.
We talked about that with Rusty Wallace the other day, and I know it to be true also, but turns 1 and 2 are totally different than 3 and 4. The racetrack is wide as you head into turn 1, giving you a bigger radius to turn into the corner. Going to turn 3, totally different type of, you go flat in there with a straightaway instead of having the oval to work with.
I probably shouldn't have said that. That's the first lap in about 20 that Gordon has run on the bottom through 3 and 4. He has now just changed his line, or at least he did on that lap.
That's 2 times today that that's happened to us. Trust us, we're not misleading you. We're seeing this stuff as we watch Jeff Gordon cruising around in his Chevrolet.
Changed his line. He's on the bottom again. Hey, we're going to welcome his car to Rick Hendrick back to Winston Cup. He's going to be back here in just about a month. See Gordon's line now. Hendrick just about at the end of the interferon treatments that he has taken for 3 years. Going to be back to the sport, and everybody is going to be pleased to see him.
You're going down the back straightaway with Jeff Gordon here. Right along in this area, about 185. Now that the tires are really worn, they're backing out early as you hear him go down in the corner.
Any moment now, we should see the leaders in for green flag pit stops. If you look off to the left as Gordon goes by, you'll see some cars on pit road. Among them, Rusty Wallace, the 4th place runner, who heads down toward his pit at the 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit, making sure not to go over that. Slides into his stall. Mike Hogwood looks on.
Rusty Wallace has been running in the top 5 all day, but he believes his car can be a lot better. He's had his team lower the track bar, and they're taking a ½ pound of air pressure out of all 4 tires. He said he was just a little bit loose out there, and he wants to get this car absolutely perfect. Rusty Wallace down and away, 15-1, a good stop.
Wow, that's a terrific stop. Terrific work by Rusty Wallace's crew. More green flag pit stops coming in. Mark Martin is on pit road. Ward Burton is on pit road. Beginning to see all of the lead lap cars now for the 2nd time today come on pit road under the green. Here's Mark Martin once again to go to Mike Hogwood.
Well, Mark Martin, as we told you, really used up those tires catching up to the field. He really wanted this pit stop to get 4 Frenchmans on. They are making a chassis adjustment, as you might be able to see. 4 tires and fuel for Mark Martin, and a good stop for the 6'4". He is down and away, 16-6.
And Bobby Labonte is in. Right side tires have just gone on. We're going to make a slight chassis adjustment with air pressure to the left side tires of Bobby Labonte. Air pressure, 15-second pit stop for Bobby Labonte.
John Andretti is in. Dale Jarrett has also come down when Labonte pitted. Dale Jarrett took over the race lead. Andretti in. Let's go back to Steve Burns.
And John Andretti getting work to the right side of the STP number 43. Right side tires on. Going to the left side. No chassis adjustments again. We haven't seen any adjustments to the car. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Dale Jarrett clearly had the best car at the beginning of that run, but the longer he went, the tighter it got, especially in the center. They're going to add a pound of air pressure to try and loosen him up in the center of the corner. Dale Jarrett down and away, a very quick stop for the 88 bunch.
There's Jeff Burton on pit road. Moved up to 3rd as these pit stops have shuffled around. Mike Skinner is now the race leader. Burton's crew working around the left side of his car.
They had trouble with the jack. Started to jack the car up, the car dropped, he had to pick it back up again.
That'll cost him some time on the racetrack. There's Dale Earnhardt on pit road getting service. Earnhardt has had a solid run, but not spectacular. He hasn't really been up toward the leaderboard any, not up toward the top 5. He's been kind of around the back half of the top 10 all day.
And now the leader, Mike Skinner, is slowing on the racetrack off turn 4. He will come to pit road. This will be at lap number 157 for Mike Skinner. So we'll see what kind of work the Larry McReynolds-led team is able to do and where they get him back out onto the racetrack in relation to Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte, the 2 front runners before the beginning of pit stops. Long ways down to his stall toward turn 1. Let's cover the Mike Skinner pit stop.
And Skinner is in, and he was pretty good on that run. Towards the end, he said he had a little bit of a vibration. They didn't know if that was a tire or what that could have been. So they're going to make no adjustments to Skinner's car. Just 4 tires and fuel. They're having a very good run. Now, the last time, he was the last car to come in as well. So they've been getting good fuel mileage all day. 16.9 seconds on Mike Skinner's stop.
There's Tony Stewart in.
That's his second pit stop. He did pit earlier, and he's come back in again.
I would just about guess that maybe he had a tire that was equalizing. What that is, it gets out of balance. The inner tire gets to flapping around in there, and it makes it impossible to drive.
Kenny Irwin, the car with a big star on the hood. He is now the race leader, not yet made his pit stop. Once he does, the lead will go back to Bobby Labonte. Dale Jarrett will be second. Rusty Wallace will be third. And we'll set the rest of the running order for you after the completion of the round of pit stops. But it is Kenny Irwin who leads for the first time today. 9th different driver to spend time out in front of this UAW-GM 500. I'd like to follow up on that Tony Stewart problem there for just a minute. We'll get one of our reporters up there to hunt the story for us. But something happened there. He came in at lap 154. And then again at lap 157.
I watched him. They changed the tires. Whatever it was tire related. It's either a cut tire or an equalized tire.
Bobby Labonte there getting by the Kenny Irwin car. And so Bobby Labonte goes back out in front. Kenny Irwin staying out, hoping for a caution to stay on the lead lap. Didn't work for him. He'll be coming to pit road very shortly. And once again, it is the Joe Gibbs Racing team. And Bobby Labonte back out in front of this event.
There's that shot coming off the first corner where they almost clipped the grass.
That camera was underwater yesterday, literally underwater.
Now, most of the whole infield was underwater, and some of the fans and campers were as well.
Here's Kenny Irwin making his stop. He's the last of the lead cars to come down pit road. This will be at lap 160. The Robert Yates team there with the windshield tear off to clear up Kenny's vision. And the 4-tire change. And send him back out onto the racetrack with a very good-looking stop. So Bobby Labonte goes back out in front of this UAW-GM Quality 500 in just 6 more laps. We'll be at the halfway point of today's race. Delayed one day by rain, but it's been a good one so far. Stay with us, plenty more racing to go. The Superstation returns live in just a moment. About to complete halfway in today's UAW-GM Quality 500. Live on TBS, Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte. Bobby Labonte is the race leader. Over Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield, and Mike Skinner. There you look at the rest of the top 10 also. Martin, Gordon, Burton, Park, and Andretti. Just after a set of green flag pit stops we run here, and let's look at how they came in and how they went out. Not much change there among the top 5. Martin losing a spot, and Skinner losing a spot as well. Now let's take a swing through pit road and get some stories there. A follow-up on this round of pit stops, if you will. An STP pit roundup. We start with Mike Hogwood.
You guys made the point that Tony Stewart had to come in twice. He had a loose left rear tire. Felt the vibration there. They came in and put 4 new ones on. They tightened him up, and he's okay now. Doesn't feel the vibration, but it was very costly for Tony Stewart. Now to Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, as you mentioned earlier in this race, Steve Park had a great run here in May before crashing around the midway point. They're having another tremendous run in the 9th position. This last pit stop, Steve Park came in. They were a little bit tight. So, again, they made a subtle air pressure adjustment to the number 1 car. Marty?
Well, Jeff Gordon was extremely loose on that last run and made absolutely no progress. So Brian Weitzel decided to change the air pressure and every tire. Jeff radioed to the crew, hey guys, it's already better. It's a lot better than when it was last time. So Jeff Gordon certainly making progress right now.
So that's some of the stories from pit road. Mike Hogwood talking about Tony Stewart as we look at Brian Weitzel, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon there, who has fit in very well in just his first couple of weeks on the job. That team has not skipped a beat at all. Want to get back to Tony Stewart just for a second. He is in 26th position, and he is now 2 laps down to the race leader. So that's how costly that extra pit stop was
just updating the scoring there.
That was under green, and we've had virtually green flag all day long today, which is a bit of a surprise. We had 11 caution flags in this race last year, and some of the drivers were anticipating a good number of cautions today as well. We just haven't had them.
There's Joe Gibbs, the owner of Tony Stewart's car, as well as the race leader, Bobby Labonte. The Super Bowl winning NFL football coach has certainly established himself as one of the premier owners on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit.
And that's a look at his driver as he goes down the straightaway there. You notice he's pretty still inside the car.
What makes Joe Gibbs such a good winning Winston Cup team owner? Well, people that work for him tell me the same things that made him a good NFL winning football coach. He motivates his people. He selects his people by personality, by character trait, a group of people that'll work together well and have that team chemistry that you need to win in either football or basketball or NASCAR Winston Cup racing. He gets those people together, he motivates them to get the performance he needs out of them, and together with his quarterback, as he calls him, Jimmy Maycar, the crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, Tony Stewart's crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, Maycar Labonte's crew chief, you get the results they're getting now. 2 cars in the top 5 in the championship standings.
You're exactly right. All you have to do is just sit down and talk to him one time, and you understand why he's a winner, because you can tell it in his confidence. Also, he fought his way to the position he is in life right now. He didn't start out on top. He had some tough times on the way up. Joe Gibbs, a quality man.
Joe Nemechek there, the Bell South car, the bright blue and orange and yellow trimmed machine, has just gone a lap down. 14th position is where Joe Nemechek is. He's trying to get that lap back from the race leader, Bobby Labonte, there off turn 2. There you see the serial score on Nemechek so far today. Even though he's just gone a lap down, it's been a very solid race for Nemechek. He started in 26th spot. You see a high of 14th for Nemechek in that rundown. That is where he runs at the moment. 14th, the first car, 1 lap down to the race leader.
Yeah, and he's trying to do something about that as they head down towards turn 1. He has the lower line there. Bobby taking a high line through the corners. Nemechek would give anything just to be just in front of him. Caution comes out, you make up a full lap.
Only had 1 caution flag. That was very early in the race, so it's been hard to stay on the lead lap. Bobby Labonte setting a record pace thus far in the UAW-GM Quality 500 in Charlotte.
Back here at the Lowe Motor Speedway, leader Bobby Labonte having some trouble with a couple of lap cars. He disposed.
Back with you at Lowe's Motor Speedway for the 40th running of the UAW-GM Quality 500. Rained out yesterday, riding with Bill Elliott in the McDonald's car. He's currently 17th on the field. And say, don't forget, the McDonald's Championship semi-final round is coming up, and it will feature the NBA champion San Antonio Spurs from Milan, Italy. That coverage is this Friday, beginning at 8 p.m. on TNT. 178 laps have been completed as you watch Elliott out there. Onside is Kyle Petty in the 48. Pit stops may be the story here today. There have been some brilliant ones, one of the quickest indeed, Rusty Wallace. But perhaps the biggest story here is only 1 caution in the race. That's only happened once before, 1962 on the full race. As we look at the leader, Junior Johnson, when he won it in 62, did it with only 1 pit stop. And there you see it. We may be building for a record run, and the intensity of the battle up in front hasn't waned. It has been Labonte, Jarrett, Wallace, pretty much the story today. Back to Alan Bestwick.
Ken, thank you. And indeed, this has been a race of green flag runs, green flag pit stops, and the team that hit the handling on the head from the start, that has been Bobby Labonte so far. He has been out in front more than any other driver to this point. Last win by a Pontiac here in Charlotte, 1988.
Wow, that is incredible.
Wallace. Now, you may say, well, wait a minute. Bobby Labonte won in 95. The Joe Gibbs team was using Chevrolets then. They made the switch from Pontiac since then.
Yeah, and they're flying around the racetrack. There's a group of cars just in front of them. You can see Andretti going in the corner just in front of Bobby Labonte. He's about to go a lap down, just a few laps back. Hey, he was running in second place.
Looking ahead from Bobby Labonte's car, that is the John Andretti machine, just up in front of the race leader. Andretti in 12th position, last driver on the lead lap. Why so few cars on the lead lap? Well, it goes back to what we talked about at the very top of our broadcast. This racetrack, more than any other, the weather affects the way a car handles on it. The weather conditions Lord knows have changed drastically from the last time these cars practiced on Saturday afternoon in happy hour that you saw live on TBS. And so the teams have had to do a lot of guessing and a lot of adjusting on the fly. And one of the problems when you don't have caution flag pit stops to make those adjustments is you can't afford to take the time on pit road to make the adjustments.
And another factor starting in, you can see the clouds now. There's dark places on the racetrack. So who's good right now may not be so great in 15 laps from now. We're getting a little shade here and there on the racetrack. That is a nightmare for the guys that you can see getting in turn 1 there. A dark spot on the racetrack. The car gets different grip there. So as you go along, somebody may just hit it like you can see right now. Labonte much quicker than Andretti. Not long ago, Andretti was actually catching Bobby Labonte. So when you're right on this racetrack. He's getting great grip. He changed his line to make the car get around the racetrack.
He just ran that trio down. Bobby Labonte on a tear this afternoon, running incredibly well. This morning, the only chassis problem they were worried about, a slight twitch going into the corner. Apparently, chassis expert, crew chief Jimmy Makar has worked that twitch out of the car. Labonte handling beautifully now, but just eating the competition up. He has just put Earnhardt a lap down.
Earnhardt running in 10th position. He's about to put 9th place Jeff Burton a lap down. Steve Burns has more on Bobby Labonte.
You know, guys, even though he's running well right now, Bobby Labonte that is, and leading this race, he is not entirely happy. These guys are constantly trying to make their car better, analyze while they're going, so that at the end of the race it'll be even better. Now, Bobby has told Jimmy Makar on the radio that the car is still just a little bit tight, and he wants to make an air pressure adjustment. Jimmy Makar, top of the pit box. Next time he wants to make another air pressure adjustment. So again, even though he's leading, he wants to make this thing better.
And for you people out there that just joined us and don't know what tight is, that don't mean they're having a cocktail. What that means is they go down in the corner, turn the steering wheel, and the front of the car will not turn. It skates up the racetrack. That's what tight is. Loose is when the back of the car loses grip and tries to come around.
And Bobby Labonte's tight race car there, you can see by the fact that he just can't go into the bottom lane in 1 and 2 and get underneath Jeff Burton, who is also having to run the high line.
Bobby's done a great job of finding the right line all day long. He's not found any one line and stuck with it. He's moved around all day and found out wherever that car runs best. Having a tough time getting by Jeff Burton, and just doesn't want to give up his position on the lead lap. It looks like he's got him now.
Now let's see if Bobby can hold it low in 1 that he has not been able to do the last several laps. He has to ease off the gas a little bit. Burton stays beside him.
Burton just says go ahead.
Labonte's got him now. Yeah. You just keep going like that lap after lap, and eventually a guy's tires are going to be gone, and maybe he'll stay on the lead lap. But it's not in Jeff Burton's interest to fight that thing much longer, so he let him go.
So the 10th place car is now 1 lap down. Jeff Burton. Next in front of the race leader will be Steve Park, who runs 9th. This is a race for position we're watching here. It is for the 11th and 12th spots, Dale Earnhardt and John Andretti. Now up to 3rd spot. Here's Jeremy Mayfield trying to get it away from his teammate Rusty Wallace.
We've seen these two cars together today more than we have in any race for months and months and months. They are team cars running somewhat different chassis, and as they've gotten away from the sameness of the chassis, they've not run well together until today. And they have just clicked beautifully. Both cars running exceptionally well. Roger Penske, Michael Krenefis have got to be pleased.
It has been a terrific day so far for Jeremy Mayfield. Started back in 20th position. You know, Mayfield has only 1 top 10 finish in the last dozen races.
Yeah,
not been a good summer.
Yeah, last year he was one of the hottest names on the circuit. Just couldn't do anything wrong, and all of a sudden it was like a wheel run off on him almost.
And you know, as well as he runs here at Lowe, he has never led until today, never finished on the lead lap until today, and he's got 12 starts at this event, or this racetrack as well.
Still got a long way to go, though, so Mayfield's got to keep the pace up here as we watch Bobby Labonte go around the outside of the Brett Bodine car, put him a lap down. Brett running back in 40th spot. He is now 5 laps behind race leader Labonte. Past halfway, live in Charlotte on a Monday. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series, after being rained out yesterday, the top 2 in the championship are the top 2 in this afternoon's event.
Race fans, the 99 Simpson Racing Catalog is now available. For information, call 1-800-71-RACIN or visit the Simpson website at simpsonraceproducts.com. Communications provided by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide. Call us today at 1-800-669-1522 for all your two-way needs for race teams and scanners and headsets for the fans. And at the track, see TrackScan on Vendors Row for all your on-site scanning needs. And by LA West Luxury Vans, available at select dealerships nationwide. Call for a free video, 1-800-786-VANS.
Looking at the leader, Bobby Labonte, as we come back live on a Monday at Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte, the UAW-GM 500 on the Superstation TBS. Glad that you've joined us. Looking from Bobby Labonte, the leader. Where is second place Dale Jarrett? Where is he? Still not there. Still not there. Still not there. Here he comes now. Wow, 7 seconds back from first to second. They were just about nose to tail after the last pit stops just a little while ago. Marty Snyder, what's happened to Dale Jarrett's car?
Well, that one, he's really fallen off, and it just seems to be that his car is loose, and it's not the thought that this set of tires is agreeing with this chassis setup. What's happening, they think they went too far with the air pressure adjustment they made, and it's made his car extremely loose. Remember last time, his car was tight, so they loosened it up a little too much. And this cloud cover...
Trouble, Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton into the wall off turn 4. Burton, the 10th place car. Hearing John Andretti's spotter.
Out.
Burton sliding through that wet grass from the 4 inches of rain we had yesterday. He is sitting now at a stop. Yellow out, second time in the race. He was running in 10th at the time of the crash off turn 4. Yellow number 2 for Jeff Burton at lap 198.
Burton won the race here in May. How quickly fortunes can turn around at Charlotte.
He's thinking about trying to get right to his pit stall, I think, but he can't back up on pit road.
Well, one thing, he's going to have to take a penalty, I guess, because he did go.
Oh, there you go.
He's got a left front
slat. Yep. Second caution of the day. This one involving the 5th place driver in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship off turn 4.
He starts off turn 4. You can see the car just get away and hard into the outside wall with the left side of the car into the grass right here. Now he's in trouble here. This is very wet in this area. You see the water spraying. He gets on the quarter-mile track they run the legend cars on and stops.
We talked about what is a tight and what is a loose race car earlier.
That's loose.
That was a loose race car. Where the back end tries to pass the front end when you come off the corner. And you can see the back end of the Ford there has paid for it dearly with a bit of concrete in turn 4. Again, a loose race car. Professor Baker? Professor
both of us, yes. As you can see right there, I mean, it was just the tires are up on the right side. He just got around there, lost traction with the rear of the car, and it just started around. And then it swung around and hit the driver's side against the wall. Lucky all these cars were a good ways back as he was coming off, because that could have been a multi-car pileup.
Caution, a big break for Steve Park. Last car on the lead lap in 9th spot. He was about to be overtaken by Bobby Labonte, the race leader, when the yellow came out and has allowed him to catch up. And now the leaders come to pit road for service. These stops as we complete the 200th lap of 334 in today's race. Looking at Bobby Labonte coming down pit road, the race leader, to get his service.
It's a lonesome looking pit road down through there. Most of the cars are a lap down. They're still out there, not allowed to stop until next time by.
First, second, and third. Top to bottom, left of your screen, Labonte, Jarrett, and Jeremy Mayfield. Labonte getting to his pit first because he was way out in front of Jarrett, and he should get out cleanly with the race lead.
And he does. He is the first man off pit road, easily the first man off pit road. Dale Jarrett is going to be the second man off pit road. He'll wind up in second spot.
Mayfield had a little trouble there. He's going to lose a few spots. Here comes Jeff Gordon, Mike Skinner, lower right of your screen. They're going to get out ahead of Mayfield, so a little hiccup there. And Mayfield is going to lose a couple of very precious track positions on pit road. To Steve Burns.
Hey, Alan, the 18 car, Bobby Labonte, was just in. Remember, a moment ago, we said he didn't like the air pressure in the last adjustment they made, so they went back to the one they had prior to. It was a 16-second pit stop for Bobby Labonte. No other adjustments. So let's go now to Mike Hogwood.
On the last pit stop, we told you that Rusty Wallace wanted to lower the track bar and take some air pressure out of the tires. Well, this stop, he put it all back the way it was. He wants to try to get that car the way it was at the start of the race. Now for Mark Martin, air pressure adjustment on the right side tires only. To Marty Snyder.
Dale Jarrett was a little loose on that run, as we were talking about when the caution came out. They took a round of wedge out of the left side. That should tighten him up just a little bit. 16.7 for Dale Jarrett's pit stop. Also, Jeremy Mayfield came in, had a little trouble, as Alan mentioned, on the left front. 19.6, costly pit stop for Jeremy Mayfield.
Dropped him back a couple of spots exiting pit road. Mayfield came in third, and now he will come out in 5th position. And so Bobby Labonte comes off pit road with the race lead. Now the cars that are a lap or more down are on pit road getting their service on this second lap of the caution. This is the 11th place driver, John Andretti.
Okay, clear behind the 97.
And the Richard Petty team getting him back on the speedway. Second caution flag underway in today's UAW-GM Quality 500. Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, Mike Skinner, and Jeremy Mayfield are the top 5 drivers. Wrapping up only the second caution of this UAW-GM 500 as we come back live to Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte, live on a Monday here on the Superstation TBS. Jeff Burton has been on pit road several times for repairs to his machine. A follow-up on that shortly. First, we're back underway. Joe Nemechek is the 10th place car. He's trying to get a lap back from leader Bobby Labonte, who's in the outside lane as we go back to full speed.
Jarrett pulls down, and guess what? The 24 car of Jeff Gordon just motored right on by him on the outside there and took over second place. Well,
maybe. Maybe. Gordon and Jarrett racing for second. Marty Snyder has more on Jeff Gordon.
And with a 15.7-second stop, they got them in the 3rd place, guys, and they were almost as fast as the leaders on that last run. Jeff just wanted a slight air pressure adjustment. They were a little bit tight, but they were pretty happy about the car. What they wanted was track position, and now they've got it.
Labonte way up the racetrack as Gordon clears Jarrett for second. Nemechek, the first car in the screen, is now on the tail end of the lead lap. He's in 10th position, needs a caution to come back around and rejoin the front-running group.
Here comes the 24, Jeff Gordon diving right down on the white line as they get side by side, coming off turn 4.
Skinner also downstairs in that blue and yellow car right behind Labonte.
Just past 300 miles, Jeff Gordon leads for the first time all race. Gordon in front, now Skinner to the bottom of Labonte for second.
All the Winston Cup races Gordon has run here, he has only failed to lead one time.
And Jeremy Mayfield right here in this 12 car has really picked it up. Now it's a 4-car duel as they go down the front straightaway.
Boy, he almost kissed that wall coming off the 4th corner. Mayfield did in the number 12.
Ricky Rudd has just taken his car back into the garage. David Green has also gone behind the wall. As Mike Skinner clears Bobby Labonte for second, here comes Mayfield for third. He gets that spot. Labonte back to 4th.
Jeff Burton in the 99 is still on pit road, losing laps as all this goes on.
Bonnie going back to what he had a while ago, that high line, but right now fresh tires down on the bottom is just overhauling it.
And overhauling is Mike Skinner around Jeff Gordon for the race lead. He led by a nose at the stripe. Gordon going to kind of hang on the outside, see if he can stay with him.
These 2 guys on the bottom there drafting. Jeremy Mayfield takes over second.
Just get in front of Jeff Gordon.
Skinner led for 1 lap earlier during a series of green flag pit stops, so this will be the 2nd time today that he's been out in front.
You know, we talked about Rusty Wallace all day long. He just keeps going up. The car will drop back, it'll run up front, it'll drop back. I think Rusty Wallace has a great car today. If he can get it dialed in for that last little run that he has today, that car is lightning fast.
There's Rusty just around Bobby Labonte for 4th spot. So Labonte and Jarrett, the top 2 for the last, 200 miles of this race. After this set of pit stops, just not finding their cars to their liking. And they've fallen back to 5th and 6th positions. Behind Skinner, Mayfield, Gordon, Rusty Wallace. Then you get to Labonte and Jarrett.
And then you start talking about 4 brand new tires. If they run along, if you abuse these tires like they're doing right now on that bottom line, is Bobby Labonte taking the conservative line around here to make that car work? As he goes along, it may get faster and faster because he's not laying on the tires like the guys who are tripping them down in the corner.
Napa Field summary, I gave you the first 6 cars earlier. You look at the rest of the running order, upper left of your screen. The others that are on the lead lap besides the 6 that I mentioned are Ward Burton in 7th, Steve Park in 8th, Mark Martin in 9th, and Joe Nemechek in the 42 car there, left of your screen. He's on the last. He's the last car on the lead lap, just in front of the leader, Mike Skinner.
Running just as hard as he possibly can to stay on that lead lap. Nemechek going to do absolutely everything within his power to keep Skinner behind him. Does not want to go a lap down. He's fast. He's still got a shot at this thing, but only if he can stay on the lead lap.
Mike Skinner is a driver whose style is to go absolutely as fast as he can go every lap of the race.
That's the one thing Larry McReynolds said I have to do. He said he's like a runaway horse. You got to pull back on him the whole race to keep him absolutely running the tires right off the car.
Now, you saw the leaders just go by the Jeff Burton car. We mentioned he was on pit road for quite some time getting damage repaired. Mike Hogwood is with Burton's crew chief to give us an update on what happened and what they had to fix.
We're with Frank Stoddard. What did you have to fix on this race car to get Jeff back out?
Well, not enough probably, but the toe was knocked out. We fixed that and just did all we could to just get him back out and make make laps the rest of the day. It's a shame we got him behind on a pit stop. 40 car had a problem with the left front tire. They jammed a gun or something on their pit stop. We had to stop coming in. You know, we come from 37th all the way to the front. Jeff had been doing a great job, and we just, you know, we had a little problem in the pits getting in with the 40 car, and it wasn't their fault. And then we just had a problem there, and then we had a problem on the pit stop, and you know, before you know it, we're a lap down.
That's the worst.
He's dropped from second, now back to sixth, and continues to get
Pits.
Oh boy, close off turn 4 there as we look at the championship standings as they are right now, with Dale Jarrett hanging on to most of his lead over Bobby Labonte. It was 2:51 entering the day, and notice Jeff Burton no longer in the top 5 as a result of that problem earlier, if they are finished pretty much like they're running at this point.
And Stewart drops one as well, down the pit spot for 4th.
Here's Rusty Wallace underneath Bobby Labonte. This would be for the 4th spot. Joe Nemechek has been overtaken by the race leader Skinner, 2nd place Mayfield, and 3rd place Jeff Gordon.
Bobby Labonte right now is just running up there where nobody else is running, and it looks like it's paying off. He's starting to pick it back up again.
Skinner, your leader, has had so many coulda, shoulda ones so far this year. Pocono in July, had the pole, led the most, didn't win. Spring, Talladega, looked like a winner. Tangled with Tony Stewart, didn't win. First Richmond, looked like a winner, crashed instead. Martinsville last week, led the most laps, didn't win. That driver in the number 31, Mike Skinner, is overdue for sure. Maybe today, maybe today.
Front 3, all running very close together. You look up from Jeff Gordon's machine, the 3rd place car. That is the back bumper of Jeremy Mayfield out Gordon's windshield, and just in front of Mayfield's Ford is the Chevrolet of Mike Skinner, the race leader.
Hear how long he was out of the throttle before he picked it up. He let the chassis absolutely get as much maximum bite as it could get. Then he got back in the throttle and powered right up out of the corner. And that's the one thing that Jeff Gordon has, a lot of discipline when it keeps, as far as how far to run it down in the corner, when to pick the throttle back up and not abuse the tires.
Dirt tracks will teach you that. He's got a lot of experience on dirt tracks. They really teach throttle control.
There you see pretty close to a record speed in today's event. While the race for the lead has settled in some, let's get today's Jasper Engines Tech Fact from down on pit road. Here's Steve Burns.
And Alan, our tech fact today is actually a quick lesson on tire stagger. Now, these tires may look identical, but one tire is actually 1.5 inches bigger in terms of circumference. That would be the right side tire. Both right side tires 1.5 inches bigger. Now, let's show you a very quick demonstration of how that works. If the tires, 2 tires are the same size, they roll straight. But with the right side tires being bigger, you push the cup, it helps the car turn to the left. And Buddy Baker, speaking of which, you talked earlier about these tires. The sidewall construction is different this race, and that is helping the cars turn left.
Yes, it is. It's also posing a problem. As they go along and get used to this tire, they'll have the setups a lot closer. But a lot of them are guessing right now because it does go down in the corner. It shifts the weight of the car over because the sidewalls give up a little bit. So it makes it like a bias ply tire as far as the way it feels on the steering wheel.
Rusty Wallace and Ward Burton going at it for 5th and 6th position, side by side off the corner. Who gets the advantage there?
Wasn't it Bill Davis who said he didn't have a top 5 car? Sure looks like one right now. That number 22 is running real well.
Tommy Bolton's the reason for that. That kid is absolutely as good a crew chief as you'll ever find. Learned on the modifieds up north, on his father's car, as a matter of fact. He knows what he's doing. I love to talk to this kid because he knows the chassis so very, very well.
Well, give a lot of credit to Davis as well, because you talk about a guy that can motivate people, a man that the crew wants to perform for, the driver wants to perform for. Bill Davis, who owns that number 22 car, is one of the most popular personalities in the garage area, and that whole crew wants success, not just for themselves, but for Bill Davis.
Ward Burton led earlier for a couple of laps after taking 2 tires on the first pit stop on an early caution, then fell back into the field. With that comment, Bill Davis saying they did not feel like they had a top 5 car today. But he's up into the 5th position now, just ahead of a good race for 6th between Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. Mark was one of the dominant players early in the race, but he's not been a factor to lead this thing for a while. He was almost a factor to Wallace's back bumper there.
And here he comes on the inside. You can see the racetrack now. It's very dark out there. The sun is behind the clouds right now. The racetrack's changing. Mark Martin has picked it up. He just motored right on by Rusty Wallace off turn 2.
So Martin moves up into the 6th position, taking Wallace back to 7th, ahead of Steve Park, who's 8th. And Dale Jarrett, who's fallen back to 9th spot in the last car on the lead lap. He was running up in 2nd for much of the last 100 miles of this event. So all of a sudden, Jarrett's car not handling very well here, and he would welcome another quick caution flag and a chance to visit pit road. Isn't that strange how a car can run so strong, visit the pit road, and then just fall back?
But we've also had a change of weather as well. And you're absolutely right, Alan. This is the most fickle of all the racetracks on the Winston Cup circuit. As the clouds come and go, the behavior of the car changes dramatically. Why that is, ask how many crew chiefs there are, and they'll all tell you a different story. 17 Kenseth has just hit the wall. You can see the right side of that car flattened. It's the 2nd incident of this day for Matt Kenseth.
See if we can take a look at what happened to Matt. This is off turn 4. There he is.
Yow! Right on up to the high side.
Squeezed a little bit by Sterling Marlin there.
Yep, just a little bit. He had to go a little bit higher there. You see the concrete dust on the wheel itself as they were taking it off, so he got in there pretty good.
Steve Park starting to rumble here, trying to get 7th from Rusty Wallace.
Park led 84 laps here in May with this same car. Wrecked it. They've had to clip it since that, change the suspension, change the geometry and so forth to get it all back together. They glue that car back together for Park, and he's looking real good in it right now, buddy.
Easy, doctor. Clip it. To a lot of people at home, let me tell you what he's talking about. That's a front clip or rear clip where they have to put a piece on the chassis itself because of contact to the wall or maybe to another car, and you put a section on there, and that's called clipping a race car.
Yeah, they kind of cut it off at the firewall and everything forward of the firewall. That's called a front clip.
The leader is Mike Skinner as we close in on the finish of today's UAW-GM Quality 500. You're watching it live from Charlotte on Superstation TBS, and we'll come back in just a moment. Superstation TBS sticking right with the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Even though yesterday's race was rained out, we are live at Charlotte on a Monday to bring you full coverage of the UAW-GM 500. You're looking at the race leader, Mike Skinner. Just about 100 laps to go in this event now, down to the final 150 miles. Skinner up on Jeremy Mayfield by that much. Mayfield, the 2nd car on the screen there. That equates to .995 seconds on the NASCAR timing and scoring system. Only 2 cars are in the garage at this point, David Green and Ricky Rudd. The latest retiree, Mike Hogwood, is with him.
Ricky lost the bearings in the rear end gear. They're having to replace it. They want him to get him back out. Ricky, as a matter of fact, has not even taken off his helmet or lowered his window net. He is anxious to get back onto the racetrack. Some work being done here in the garage on the Ricky Rudd machine. Now to Marty Snyder.
Well, Jeff Gordon is certainly running better in this segment of the race, and I think I found their good luck charm and maybe the reason they're running better. Look who this is right here. That's Mr. Rick Hendrick. Great to have you back at the racetrack. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel pretty good. I rested during the rain yesterday, and it feels good. It's good medicine to be out here and watch the guys.
Now, are you the good luck charm for these guys?
Well, I hope so. Sure like to see them pull one off here today, but they did Martinsville without me, so you know, we just hope it stays cloudy.
I'm sure he didn't mind that they won it without him, but the last time he was at a Winston Cup race, Terry Labonte won the Winston. Maybe he is a good luck charm, guys.
Rick Hendrick has had an awful lot of success in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series as a team owner as we watch Dale Jarrett try and overtake Rusty Wallace for 8th spot.
This has been going on for quite a while. These two have been going at it about as hard as you can go at it, even though they are well behind the leader. This whole thing is going on some 8 seconds behind the lead.
Rusty's just washed up the racetrack there, and Jarrett just moved right around on the bottom side. I think Rusty right now, as the tires really get hot, he starts to move back in the field.
Dale Jarrett, the championship leader, ran in the top 2 for much of the mid stages of this event. He and Bobby Labonte basically being the 2 drivers that dominated from, say, lap 100 to about lap 300. Now Jarrett has fallen back. Labonte, though, is starting to move back forward once again.
Labonte is, and Jeremy Mayfield went way up the racetrack and almost lost control there. So you can see that they're changing lines on the racetrack. One moment, 24, Jeff Gordon's running well. Then you see Bobby Labonte. He's now picking it up, as you said, and looks to be as fast as anybody out there.
I heard Rick Hendrick say he hopes that the weather stays cloudy. That's apparently the situation under which Gordon's car performs the best. It's a spotty sky right now. Some clouds, some clear sky as well.
Labonte in 3rd, Gordon in 2nd. Left and right on your screen as they come back toward turn number 1 now. Dick Trickle has just taken his car back to the garage. So Trickle, the 3rd car, now off the racetrack. He is pulled in behind pit wall. Matt Kenseth heading there as well. So after slapping the wall off turn 4 a little while ago, Kenseth obviously needing more attention, but he was able to get just on pit road.
These guys are still going at it, Alan. This has to be about a 25-lap run that these guys have traded position. Rusty now going to the bottom, and Jarrett now going up to the top of the racetrack.
8th and 9th spots. Last 2 cars on the lead lap for Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace as they continue hammering away here.
This sun going in and out has got to be driving the drivers nuts. It really does. You can run real well in a turn where you've got clouds. You go in the next turn, you've got sunshine. You don't run well at all.
Hard to believe that something as simple as a cloud can affect the way a $100,000 Winston Cup race car handles on a speedway like this. As you look at the distance from the race leader Skinner back to 2nd place Gordon and 3rd place Bobby Labonte, that is what 1.5 seconds looks like on this mile-and-a-half speedway. Hard to believe something as simple as a cloud can affect the way a race car drives.
But it does.
Yeah.
It's like turning the heat up on an egg. Yeah. Believe me, it'll cook it at a certain temperature, and as the racetrack gets hotter, it absolutely loses grip. As it gets cooler, you start to stick to the surface better. So that's what everybody's fighting right now. One guy said, you heard Hendricks just a second ago say, we hope it stays cloudy, because Gordon said the car is much better. When the sun comes out, we saw Jarrett was the dominant car. Then when it got cloudy, he was not anymore.
Marty Snyder has more on the weather story for us. Marty?
Yeah, buddy, I think Peter Spinzo, Jeremy Mayfield's crew chief, wants a little advice from you. They're tight in the clouds, loose in the sun, so go figure that out. They don't know what they're going to do on this next adjustment. They just know that when it's cloudy, they're tight. When it's sunny, they're loose, so they can't figure out what they're going to do. They got a fast race car. They just don't know what to do with it.
Got me. Hey, Mayfield back in 4th spot now. He has dropped 2.9 seconds behind Mike Skinner, who you look at there, trying to overtake Jerry Nadeau. There's the Todd Bodine car. Bodine back in 36th after an unscheduled stop earlier in the race. And Jeff Gordon, the 2nd place runner. First career wins here in this particular race. I know one of those fellas. Actually, I know them both, but I know one in particularly well. He's seated right next to me here in the booth. Pretty special day, huh, buddy?
Boy, I tell you what. You may win anywhere in the world, but that first one, there's nothing like it, because all of a sudden you've answered the question to yourself, am I good enough to win on a particular Sunday? And I was, and I've won at Daytona, I've won at Talladega, most of the major speedways around the country, but nothing equals that first time that you see that checkered flag, and it's for you.
Is it especially good to win here in your own backyard?
Oh yeah, man. When you walk up through there with that trophy, I wouldn't turn it loose. I walked right up through the middle of the grandstand with the trophy, and I looked over and I saw people in the grandstand that I went to school with, people that work in the cleaners, people are, just people you know. And it's special when it's your hometown and you win your first race.
105th career Winston Cup start for Mike Skinner. Will it be victory number 1? Getting down to the final stages of the UAW-GM 500. Stay with us.
Wallace. Back live in Charlotte shortly.
Back with you at Lowe's Motor Speedway in the UAW-GM Quality 500. Rained out yesterday, and it's raining glory right now on Mike Skinner. A perfect day for him here thus far. In the number 31 with 246 laps complete, 369 miles. Definitive moment for him when he went to Japan. Twice he was a winner there, once at Suzuka, last year at Motegi. But he has never won for Larry McReynolds in a point-counting race. He may get to do a few wheelies here today before this one is over, the way he's running right now with a second-and-a-half advantage over Jeff Gordon. What a story he is out of Susanville, California. He came up tough. His mother worked in a tavern. He had pool tables. When he was high school, he worked in that tavern, and he shot pool. He shot pool to pay for the tires on the first cars with which he ran and won races. This guy has come up the hard way. He is one tough race driver, and he's proving it right now here in this 40th annual Fall Classic. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Hey, Ken, you talked about Mike Skinner growing up in a tavern that his mom ran. He told me that he shot pool as recently as 5 years ago to help buy race tires before his Winston Cup career got going. So it just shows you how far that he's come. As recently as 5 years ago, he was hustling pool in Greensboro to pay for tires. Alan Bestwick?
I played golf with Mike Skinner last week. I'm kind of glad I didn't get into one of those contests with him, but putting for dollars. I might have been broke coming into today. Skinner is the race leader, and Jeff Gordon is second. We look back from Mike Skinner now to Jeff Gordon. Down from our aerial platform, the Duraloop aerial platform. There is Skinner. Now we widen out and look back for Jeff Gordon, who pops onto the right of your screen there. And that is what 1.183 seconds looks like from the leader back to second spot. Now, the big story at this point in the race is that from the last time the leaders were on pit road and an even lap number 200, it gave us an even 200 miles left to go in the race. So that means that they can go one more pit stop if we go green the rest of the way. And that final pit stop is going to be ever so critical.
It's going to put a lot of pressure on Skinner's pit crew, and he has got one of the best there is, led by David Smith, a six-time All-Pro Jackman. Smith has led this crew since this team was formed. He works with them every single week. They work out with a trainer a couple of days a week. They practice. They also are looking to build a simulator so they can practice even more often. They lift weights. They run treadmill. And this next pit stop, or the next two pit stops they take, may be the most important in the entire existence of this number 31 Lowe's team.
Expect the pit stops around lap 267 for the race leaders. If we stay green, you see upper left of your screen our Napa Field summary. We're at lap 252 now. So only about 15 more laps before those all-important final pit stops come up. And again, that's important, provided there's no caution for the rest of this race.
Exactly.
There's Elliott Sadler, buddy, the rookie driver running in 26th position. We've got a little onboard telemetry with Elliott. Let's get a look at what kind of speeds they're running around here now late in the event.
Coming off turn 2 now. See 147 miles an hour. He's dropping way down as he goes down the back straightaway there. See about 82, 8,300, 180 miles an hour or so about. When the tires get off, with fresh tires, he'd be 10 miles an hour faster through that corner.
While we ride with Sadler, I'll tell you that Rich Bickle has taken the dinner and a movie car back to the garage. Matt Kenseth has parked his machine after bouncing off the wall a little while ago. Dick Trickle, David Green, those cars out of the race. As we continue riding with the rookie driver, Elliott Sadler, who again sits in 26th position. Getting ready for those all-important final pit stops. As we come to you live from Charlotte on TBS, we'll take a break, come back, and be ready to cover them for you very shortly.
The UAW-GM Quality 500 on the Superstation is brought to you by True Value, official hardware store of NASCAR and garages everywhere. By Texaco, a world of energy. And by AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Closing in on the final 100 miles of today's NASCAR Winston Cup Series event, the UAW-GM 500. TBS Superstation at Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina, to bring you the NASCAR Winston Cup Series event, postponed by rain 1 day from yesterday. And we are getting down to what is going to be the critical moment in this event. Mike Skinner leads Jeff Gordon. You see there by 0.8 of a second. Gordon is closed in from a 2.5 seconds back and continues to chop in to Skinner's interval. In 5 or 7 more laps, Skinner and the rest of the leaders will have to come down pit road for what could be the pit stop of this race. Steve Burns is in the Mike Skinner pit now to get a thought on their strategy.
Alan, with Larry McReynolds. Larry, you said you were concerned before the race about making the proper changes with this weather changing. You've got a big pit stop coming up. How do you feel about the stop?
Well, I think it's going to come down to who has a good stop this last time. Should it go green the rest of the way? And the race kind of has that look right now. Who gets a set of tires that acts the best for them? The weather keeps changing. The sun comes out. The sun goes in. It's like whose package best suits the weather condition and who has that set of tires that seems to be the magical set for whatever's going on. But look good right now. I think everybody's got to stop one more time here in about 6 or 7 laps. So I think that's going to be what it comes down to.
All right, that means we better get out of the way, guys.
Well, what this all comes down to really, Steve, and I'll throw this one at Dick and Buddy, is that Skinner's crew is going to be put in a position that they've really not been in yet. They're going to have to make a green flag pit stop head-to-head with Jeff Gordon's team and Bobby Labonte's team with the race win on the line.
Pressure, lots and lots and lots of pressure. And it underscores how much of a team sport this whole thing is. The driver doesn't win this race alone. It takes that crew, it takes the crew chief. Everybody has to mesh together. But you better believe there's some sweaty palms on pit road.
Winston Cup racing is a team sport, no doubt about it. Where the team comes in is this. If Skinner goes down pit road with the race lead and he comes out second, the team did not get the job done, driver and company. And the driver's got a big part in the pit stop too, buddy. Let's talk about the driver's role in a successful green flag pit stop. What does he have to do?
The first thing he has to do is bring the car in straight into the pits and not get it all crossed up where the guys don't get to the tires right away. And also, he needs the car straight so when they jack it up, they change the tires. If they need to make an adjustment, he can go right out of the pits. If it comes all crooked, he might even have to back up. So he can't make a mistake. He needs to watch his speed coming down pit road. They can throw him right out of here. If he comes down there, you get a lap penalty for running too fast. So he's got a lot of pressure on him right now. And he's got a lot of pressure from Jeff Gordon right there, who is moving in on him.
Jeff Gordon closing and closing now, just a half second behind Mike Skinner. Let's go to Marty Snyder on pit road.
And he is catching Skinner. They're just a little bit tight in the clouds. They are excellent in the sun. The last thing that Brian Weichel said to Jeff Gordon is, what do you want us to do? He's going to leave this call up to Jeff Gordon, of course, with a little consultation from himself. But they are deciding what they're going to do on Jeff Gordon's car right now. But they think they have the car that will win this race.
At any moment, we'll see the leaders break and head left onto pit road for what could be their final pit stops of this race if we don't see the caution flag again between now and the finish. Gordon putting the pressure on Skinner on the racetrack. The pressure will be on pit road as well. Gordon's crew, well, they've been there before. Many, many times.
They've been there before, and Mike, as you said, Mike Skinner's group has never been there before. But the guy calling the shots, Larry McReynolds, many times. He has been on winning teams, so he will be calm. But those guys, as you said, will have extra pressure on them when they come down pit road.
First of the leaders has come to pit road. Rusty Wallace, the 9th place car, last on the lead lap. He is in right now at lap 267. There's the Wallace stop with 100 miles to go in this event. 400 miles next time by for the race leader. Wallace is in. John Andretti is in. Ted Musgrave and Kenny Wallace as well.
Jeremy Mayfield also making his way down pit road.
7th place car. Mayfield may be out of gas.
Yeah, he's
wiggling the car back and forth there, costing him time. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
And this is the same problem they had earlier, guys. He ran out of fuel. They waited this long because this is the earliest that they can go to make it all the way to the distance with 100 miles left in the race. They do the same thing they did earlier. They shoot gas down inside, and Jeremy Mayfield is going to the left side right now. But again, this will be another costly pit stop for Jeremy Mayfield.
100 miles to go. Watching Mike Skinner and Jeff Gordon, the top 2, and 3rd place Bobby Labonte, to see who makes the first move to pit road.
There's Skinner and Gordon. Skinner on the brakes in turn 4. Gordon's going to come right with him. A head-to-head matchup with the pit crews. Look at Gordon get the pit road faster.
Couldn't be better.
That's what we talked about, the driver doing his job, getting to pit road. Gordon got all he could, getting on the brakes and kept as much speed as he could before the speed limit. Now the head-to-head duel with the pit crews.
And look, Skinner had to put the brakes on because Gordon is pitting further down pit road than Skinner is. Skinner had to slow up for Gordon. What a brilliant move by Jeff Gordon. Wow.
I bet if you were in that 31 car, you wouldn't think it was brilliant.
Body to body is also in. The top 3 all pitting here. Lap 269 of 334. There's Skinner down and away. Gordon breaks out first. Gordon pitted farther down the pit lane. He's going to get out with the lead. Gordon out first. Labonte out second. Skinner back to third. We talked about it earlier. The pressure was on. Gordon's crew gets the job done best. He's out with the race lead. Here's Mark Martin coming down pit road. Steve Park is also in, another one of the lead lap cars. Watching the time run on the Mark Martin pit stop, looking for something in the high 15s or low 16s here.
Earnhardt in, Ray Labonte in and out.
18-3 for Martin's car. He heads down and away. Jeff Gordon will have the race lead after an excellent stop by his pit crew, plus the driver coming on to pit road.
Let's talk about what he did there. He came off turn 4 with a lot of speed where Skinner slowed way down. He ran until he got very close to the speed trap where they check your speed down pit road. He just rode right up beside Skinner, locked the brakes down, went right side by side with him, and as you said, Doctor, he had to back off. Skinner had to. Gordon went by. That cost him precious moments.
Well, you know Mike Skinner is doing his very best not to make a mistake at this point. That's the last thing that he wants on his conscience, is to lose this race by a momentary mistake, so he's being very careful to avoid a speeding ticket.
Now, Gordon's not clear and free by any means. There's Bobby Labonte right by him, and Mike Skinner right behind Labonte.
And Bobby Labonte's had a chance to make an adjustment on that car. He didn't get going the way he did before, but he is flying right now. He's every bit a match for Jeff Gordon as they come off and go down back straightaway.
Labonte running a much higher line than Jeff Gordon, the 24.
Let's go back and look at that move coming to pit road by Mike Skinner and Jeff Gordon a minute ago that may turn out to be the critical point of this race.
Well, Gordon just followed him down pit road. Skinner there slowing down, as Buddy said, nice and easily. Here's Jeff Gordon getting beside him. That was a big, big move by Jeff Gordon.
And here's Bobby Labonte trying to make a big, big move on Gordon for the race lead.
Side by side as they go down the back straightaway. Two cars look like they're welded together as they head into turn 3. It looks like Gordon's going to get a better drive into the corner, but watch this 18 fight back on the inside.
60 laps to go when they come back to the start-finish line. And Mike Skinner right behind the front two. So he's not out of this thing yet, though he has gone from the race lead back to third spot. There you look at the summary of the pit stops. Gordon and Labonte picking up a spot. Skinner losing 2. Jeremy Mayfield losing a couple after coming down the pit road out of fuel.
Ward Burton is still in 4th spot. He's still got a shot at this thing.
Look, Mike Skinner is absolutely flying there in the 31 car. That's him just coming off the corner there. He has picked up about 8 or 10 car lengths in the last 2 laps. He's catching the leaders at a fast pace.
So if we don't get a caution flag, these cars should be good to go to the finish on fuel. The question is now, whose car will handle better over the long haul? Can Bobby Labonte overhaul Jeff Gordon? Can Mike Skinner get by them both?
Mike Skinner looks the fastest right now as he drives right to the bottom of the racetrack. Both of these cars go up, and here comes Skinner.
Labonte around the outside. Bobby Labonte to the race lead. Here comes Mike Skinner for second.
The crowd's up on their feet right now as Mike Skinner proves he has a great race car. He drives right by Jeff Gordon on the high side, picks the throttle up, motor's right on by.
And you gotta wonder if Jeff Gordon is trying hard to take care of those tires. If there is anything he is famous for, it is taking care of the tires, particularly when they're brand new. He's hard on the gas right now.
Oh, my, lap traffic. Somebody's got to give.
Oh, boy, look out.
Tight.
That's Johnny Benson, the car on the top side of the 3-wide situation.
Please play.
He's just trying to stay out of the way at this point. But where does he have to go?
No place. And remember the rule, 3 wide doesn't work. Unless you're a record driver.
Bobby Labonte looks in the mirror and says, y'all just keep on with that lap traffic. I'm checking out.
Labonte has gotten away from Gordon and Skinner just a little bit.
He hit that.
There's the interval there. Labonte left of your screen. The car high, the green machine coming off turn 4. Working up and around the Sterling Marlin car to put him another lap down. Sterling back in 32nd spot. The fans are loving it. Terrific action here as we get toward the late stages of the race.
Labonte hit that traffic just right. He really did. It caught Skinner in the 24 of Gordon. And right now they're having to deal with Michael Waltrip in the number 7. And here we are, 3 wide again.
Mike Skinner wants second very badly right now. You can see him sliding the car just a little bit, getting in the corner on the bottom side there. Jeff Gordon's on the high side. They come off nose to tail down the front straightaway.
Boy, great racing here as we get down to the final stages of today's UAW-GM 500 Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte. You're seeing it live on Monday on Superstation TBS. Bobby Labonte taking the race lead away from Jeff Gordon at lap 276 at 3:34, getting away from them a little bit in traffic. And now Gordon left to fight with Mike Skinner for second. Skinner hoping to get around Gordon and have a shot at his first Winston Cup win.
See, folks, I was telling you true. Gordon does do the high line sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Mike Skinner has the lap traffic, but you see on the bottom there, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. You call them lap traffic. They're running pretty darn good. You notice the leaders are not catching them that quick.
Skinner pins Gordon in behind the John Andretti car, who was up in the high line of turn 2. So Skinner to second. Gordon back to third. Skinner 1.2 seconds behind Bobby Labonte, the race leader. There's the view from Gordon.
Bobby got a great jump right there as they were fighting that lap traffic. He was out there right by himself, running a perfect line around the racetrack and build up a pretty good lead.
Looking back from Bobby Labonte to second place, Mike Skinner. You can see he's got a little bit of an advantage, but he's still got 53 laps to go in this race. That is an awful long time. He'll hope to hang on and keep Mike Skinner back in his rearview mirror and score yet another Charlotte win. Labonte, Skinner, Gordon, Burton, and Martin as we're down to the final moments of the UAW-GM 500. TBS back live in Charlotte shortly.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TBS Super Shop. I'm Brian Collard. And while you're watching the rescheduled UAW-GM Quality 500, we have some very special die-cast cars for you, including the 124 die-cast metal Jeff Gordon blacked-out windows design car. A very unique paint scheme with the blacked-out windows at a brand-new price of only $30. It's the 1999 car that leads in money and in wins. And here's the one-time paint scheme of Dale Earnhardt, the Wrangler car, in the 118 die-cast size, the most detailed, at a brand-new price of $59.95. The 164 die-cast metal is available at only $10. That's driven at this year's The Winston, the NASCAR All-Star race at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. And the one-time paint scheme of course, this Tennessee Volunteer car of Sterling Marlin. Brand new price of $38.50, commemorating the national championship. Call us toll-free at 1-877-577-SHOP to pick up either one as we take you back to Charlotte and Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Looking down on Bobby Labonte from the Duralube aerial platform as he continues blistering around Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte, trying to hold off Mike Skinner. We check the interval between Labonte and Skinner. Just on the right of your screen, there's Skinner. That is what 1.830 seconds is here in Charlotte. Skinner and Labonte kind of trading fastest laps in the field on alternate circuits around this racetrack. Right behind Skinner, that's third place Jeff Gordon, who hangs right with Mike, but is not able to get up there and challenge him for that runner-up spot. Rest of the top 5 are Ward Burton and Mark Martin. They're a pretty long ways back, some 13 and 15 seconds respectively, behind Bobby Labonte as he continues to work his way around this racetrack, click off laps toward the finish. Let's get an update from pit road on what's going on in the leaders' pits. Our STP pit roundup begins with Mike Hogwood.
Bobby Labonte on that last green flag run said the car was tighter in the center of the turns than he's been all day. They raised the right rear air pressure. Jimmy Maycar saying he wanted to free him up. Boy, has he freed him up. To Marty Snyder.
Mike, if you heard the radio traffic when Jeff Gordon came down pit road, you would have no doubt that he has taken over this Rainbow Warriors team. He made the call on the pit stop. Not only did he make the great move on pit road, but he said, guys, 4 tires and fuel only on this pit stop and no changes. And they delivered with a 15.4-second stop. Now, there's 2 things going in Gordon's favor. One is that we'll have a long run to finish this race. Remember, he was excellent the longer they ran last time. And 2, the sun is coming out, and he is great in the sun. To Steve Burns.
Thanks, Marty. As you guys noted up top before that last pit stop on lap 270, Mike Skinner's team had a lot of pressure on them to make a good pit stop. They had a little bit of a problem on the rear tires, and that slowed them down by 2 seconds. They had an 18-second pit stop. Now, 2 seconds doesn't sound like much, but on the racetrack, that is a long way.
Those very critical split seconds on pit road very often. As competitive as NASCAR Winston Cup racing is these days, the difference between winning and being second, a position that many people call the first loser in these races.
And second doesn't matter. They don't remember who finished in second in so many of these events. Skinner is consistently running laps that are as good as, or even sometimes better than, Bobby Labonte in the lead. His pit is telling him that. They're encouraging him, and every time he hits one of those great laps, they tell him, good lap, Mike, good lap, plenty of time, you can still do it.
Let's go back and check on the championship now. Bobby Labonte trying to chase Dale Jarrett down for the NASCAR Winston Cup title. As we look at Jarrett, who's running in 7th spot, having just taken that away from Rusty Wallace. If Bobby wins and Jarrett finishes in 7th, the lead for Jarrett will go from 251 down to 213. Over Bobby, it'll be 263 to Mark, who's running in the 5th position now. And Jeff Gordon will move up to the 4th position ahead of Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton. Burton, if you were not with us earlier, spun off of turn number 4 back at lap 198, hit the outside wall. He is running back in 37th position now. Let's see, he is almost, well, he's over 10 laps down to the race leader, so a lot of problems there for the Burton car. After being involved in that accident earlier in the race, he was running very well at the time of his spin, but it is not going to work out to be a good afternoon for Jeff. So for Bobby Labonte right now, the trick becomes keeping his speeds as good as or better than Mike Skinner's. And as we look at some of the top speeds, you'll see that Labonte is able to do that right now. He's running the fastest laps of anyone on the racetrack.
Yeah, but you said something just a second ago. They swap back and forth. Every time we look at the computer, Labonte will have a 170, then Skinner will run a 171, 169, 170. They go back and forth on fast laps around the racetrack. The cars are pretty even right now.
But it is Labonte who holds the advantage. He is out in front of Mike Skinner by 2.049 seconds. That is the interval from 1st to 2nd. Getting down to the final laps of today's UAW-GM Quality 500 Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte. 296 at 3:34 complete. And there's your leaderboard. We're back in just a minute.